Yo, what's going on? We made it, episode 3. We're here again. Championship weekend here in the NFL. Can't believe the season's almost over. And I also can believe that the New England Patriots made it all the way to the AFC Championship. I was clamoring. I know I didn't make the videos. I know I wasn't saying everything. I know I wasn't saying everything on here, and it looks, it could be bandwagon, blah, blah, blah. But I've been saying since the offseason, since they got Vrabel, they're going to the freaking AFC Championship and they're winning the Super Bowl. I'm telling you, that's the only option. But look, we gotta get through this week, okay? And hey, look, Broncos are a good football team. They're a good football team. They are. But really, the thing is so are the Patriots. Not a lot of people are talking about the Patriots still. There's still, the quarterbacks they played weren't that good. You know what? Herbert was like the greatest quarterback of all time up until wild card weekend. He was supposed to win. That was going to be his first playoff win. Looked awful. He's looked good all year, and he looked awful, right? And then we had I gotta put my hat on because this is my hair. I just showered a little bit ago. My hair is just looking ridiculous. But as I was saying, everybody was saying Herbert was going to be great. He was going to be the best guy. He was going to get his first win. Couldn't do anything. Couldn't move the ball, right? CJ Stroud, he was going to have his bounce back game. That was just a one game against the Steelers. And of course, he didn't really, I don't think he threw any interceptions in that game. Maybe one. He might have thrown one, like in the flat against the Steelers. But most of his fumbles were off of fumble exchanges with the center, and they looked uncomfortable there, and they ended up being fine. They were good. They won that game. But not against the Patriots. And I think it has to do with the resilience of the offense. I know the defense is playing great, but 21 points against all I was hearing all week was that the Houston defense was the greatest defense of all time. And don't get me wrong, they played unbelievable. They played great, but the way everybody was talking about it was that they weren't even they couldn't score at all. That's what I thought. That's what it seemed like. It seemed like the Patriots weren't going to be able to even do anything. They weren't going to be able to score any points. They scored 21 on offense, 28 total. They got a nice pick six. But their defense was playing good. They were playing solid football. And yeah, is Drake May playing his best football? No. But the reason why I think he's playing great football is because when he needs to make the plays, when the drives need a score, when the momentum needs to be shifted back to the Patriots, when there needs to be something that happens, Drake May made it happen. 3 touchdowns, the most touchdowns against the Texans all year. Huge. And this is why I think going into this next game against the Broncos, why it's going to be a huge game. This is why I think, because look, the Texans defense, I think, is a much better defense all around. They are a really great defense. They have great defensive backs. They have great linebackers. The defensive line's really, 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 really good. And so is the Broncos. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's just, maybe I'm not getting ahead of myself. Maybe I'm just going to this Broncos game because really it's Thursday right now as I am recording this. So we'll be all, we're done with that week. It's over. They played good enough. And one quick thing. I just want the discourse about Drake May saying he's not playing great. Yeah, he dropped the ball 4 times, put the ball on the ground 4 times, got 2 of them, not good. But also, he had 100 and something yards, not a lot of yards. But when he needed to make a play, he made the play, which is all you can really ask for. I mean, that's winning football. Okay, you could have Josh Allen throwing for what did he throw for? Like 300 yards probably, lose the football game. You got Caleb Williams 2 weeks in a row. Should have probably lost last week or the week before in the wild card round, and they ended up pulling out, winning the game. He has great stats. I don't care about the stats. The stats is not what wins football games. And that's what everybody needs to get out of their heads. The quarterback needs to, and he needs to manage the football game. Is that difficult? I thought that, like, there's been this whole thing about game manager. Oh, Tom Brady was a game manager. Oh, blah, blah. Wouldn't you want to do everything that Tom Brady would be doing? Managing the football game? The one game he throws for 500 plus yards, they lose the game. And, he had to do that. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it doesn't matter. What matters is scoring when you need to score and getting momentum. You're not going to score every play. If you have 300 yards, you're probably not converting anyway in those times. You're not scoring when you need to. On 4th and 1, how many times did the Bears go for it on 4th and 1? Many times. I think 4 or 5 times they got it once. Stats and box score watching has been a thing that everybody's been doing, and you look at the stat sheet and you say, oh, this guy did this guy did it, and it's like that fantasy football mindset where it's like, oh, that means this guy's good, that means blah 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 blah. Look, numbers are great. Numbers are great. Kayshon Boutte, 75 yards. Numbers are great. But if he had 75 yards, that's a great game. But his touchdown catch, that's what you talk about. You just if you pick and choose who gets the stats and when, who has what. Pop Douglas had two catches. One of them huge touchdown at the beginning of the game. That's what you want to see. That's the kind of game that you want to see, is when you need to score, you need to get that first down, or you need to move the ball, and you do. That's way more important than moving the ball all the way down the field and making sure you pass the ball, making sure you get a lot of yards, and then coming up with nothing. And of course, it's better, whatever. But I just think there's this thing around these stats where I think C.J. Stroud threw for more yards. So I don't know. You watch the game, and yeah, he had a lot of bad plays. But he also had a lot of freaking really good plays. I mean, there were some throws in there, even some drops that they had, but there were some throws in there that was elite throws in the weather. And the weather's going to be bad again too. But there's one key possible player coming back, Mac Hollins. Mac Hollins practiced today for the first time. He didn't practice yesterday. I don't know why, but he practiced today. Could he be back? Could be. That would be unbelievable. That guy, Mac Hollins, was huge for Drake in like those deep in routes and those just down the field where he could just kind of just throw the ball up in the air and let his size just make the catch. And I think we might need something like that. Well, I don't think we're going to need something like that. I'll tell you what we need. What we're going to need is, okay. Let's just go to Jarrett Stidham. Might as well. He is a good backup quarterback. He is a quality guy. He can throw the ball well. But in the NFL, he also has like 8 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. This thing where he's going to protect the ball like crazy is, he could. But I just don't see him being able to solve what C.J. Stroud and Justin Herbert could not solve. And I'm also, the thing is too, is it's tough because Sean Payton is a good coach. But that's all he can do. He can coach. He can scheme up the play, but the player's got to make the plays. And, Josh McDaniels was calling plays. I think he was calling plays in Oakland or Vegas when they were there together. Jarrett Stidham played great in a couple games, but he also had Devontae Adams. And in one of those games, Devontae had like 175 yards receiving. He doesn't have a Devontae Adams. And the other team, I think that was against the Niners where they lost in overtime. It was one of those games in Vegas. Look, I don't want to say Jarrett Stidham sucks, but his 4 starts in 6 years, since 19. He also didn't play 21, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24. 6 years? Kind of, could say 7. But I don't know. I think he's going to play great, but I also do think there's a little thing going on with, Denver has a great pass rush, a very good pass rush. But say you throw the ball 30 times. Let's just say 30 times. You get 5 to 7 sacks. That's 23 to 25 attempts still down the field, right? And if you can protect the ball, and I'm just saying like in broad scheme, I'm just saying if they happen to get 7 sacks, I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying if they happen to get that many, it's going to be difficult. Because what they're going to have to do, Denver is really going to have to play this game where they like to bring pressure. And when they get a lot, they have so many sacks as a team. They have 71, and it's because everybody on the team gets sacks. They bring pressure from everywhere. Now, Drake May has been the best against pressure. Are these guys, I know they're really, really good at football, the defensive line, but I don't mean this to be like a knock on Benito at all, or the other guys on the defensive line, and I haven't really, I'm kind of being, not arrogant. I'm kind of being a little, like, I don't know. Look, I'm not going to be one of those guys where I'm like, I watched the film. I know what's going on, which, I watch the games when they play. And I just don't know if if they bring just 4, if that's going to be enough. And I know that's crazy to say. I know that's crazy to say after what Will Campbell just dealt with and how he just looked. But I just don't see I think the reason why he had so much trouble with Will Anderson is Will Anderson is the second best pass rusher in the league. Tell me if I'm wrong, and if there's another. I know people might say Nick Benito, but I'm getting to the point why I think Will Anderson is the second best pass rusher in the league. And it's because he can go power to speed. He goes speed to power. He can just go all power rush right through. He could just go speed through. There's so many things that he can throw you off with, where Nick Benito he doesn't bull rushes. He's not a big guy that's just gonna be able to throw off timing. I think Will Campbell's gonna be able to time up his rushes a little bit better. And I think the reason why Benito has had such a good year, especially in the beginning of the year, is because they had so much pressure coming from everywhere that if he slid protection or, if something happened and he just there was just so much more going on. They bring a lot more guys that it allows those pass rushers to, if a tackle just takes if he struggles a little bit, that they're bringing just more guys, so there's just more of a chance to get the sack. Now, I could be wrong, and somebody could say, hey, no, he lines up one-on-one against every guy, and they just eat all game long, just eat, and they're just unbelievable, which they do have I think they have the highest win rate, so that I could be wrong there, but I just don't see, I see McDaniels saying, okay, 2 weeks in a row, we've sat in the pocket a little bit too long. If the deep throw isn't there right away, then we're not taking it. It's one of those things where it's like some of those sacks are because he's sitting in the pocket, and he's like hitch, and then he's like got to get just trying to get that thing going, and it looks like he's trying to nuke that thing. He's trying to nuke it. So it's like I don't know. I don't know I don't know if they're going to continue to do that. I think he's going to be able to find that a little bit quicker with this Denver defense where he's going to find these matchups, where they're going to put Pat Surtain. Are they going to put him on Steph Diggs? Because if they do, that's fine with the Patriots. That's fine because now we got Kayshon Boutte. And I know that sounds whatever, and I know a lot of people are also saying, oh, yeah, you're starting to come along. But Riley Moss on the outside is a liability, right? And also a huge factor in this game is going to be Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry is going to be a huge factor in this game because they weren't really looking that great against the tight ends against the Bills. The Bills are moving the heck out of the football. And I know the Bills are a really good offensive team, but they had no receivers. That was like the wildest. They should not have scored 33 points in that game or 30 points in that game. I just don't know if Denver's defense, you've seen two unbelievable defenses. The Chargers defense is spectacular. I know whatever. They're very good at football. That defense is very good. And then you have Houston, who played unbelievable on defense, and the Patriots just took advantage a couple times and got to move the ball and killed the clock at the end and just crushed their will. I get CJ Stroud, whatever, but I'm putting that more on the defense, was getting after it. Because when CJ Stroud had time against the Steelers, he looked all right. He was throwing the ball down the field. 3 weeks ago against the Chargers, he was bombing them. Again, that Chargers defense is good. I don't know if, okay, here's also the thing. How are the Broncos going to run their offensive scheme? And this is what kind of has me thinking. Are the Broncos going to come out and run the same type of offense? Because if they do, it's going to be a long day for that Broncos offense. I think this Patriots team rallies to the football very well. They rally to the ball. And they're going to be it's going to be tougher for them to run more RPO style because they do run a lot of RPOs, and that's what gets Bo Nix moving a little bit. And they probably will run those to keep the Patriots, to keep them honest. But I think they're going to, the way that the Patriots are going to play defense is I think they're going to play very aggressive, which is going to be, at first they're not going to be as aggressive. They're going to kind of just sit. I think this is what the script is, not like the script, but you know what I mean. I think what's going to happen is the Broncos are going to come out and Sean Payton's like, oh, we're going to rip the ball. We're going to blah, 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 blah. They're going to try to soften the defense. So they're going to try, I think he's going to come out, play a little gamesmanship. Oh yeah, we're going to rip the ball. We're going to throw it a lot. I don't think that's a great idea against this Patriots defense. I really don't. I think their only liability is the fact that I don't even know. I think the only liability is their pass rush, but that's also could be their strength, which is so weird to say. If I was listening, I'd be like, you're an absolute idiot. But also, I just think those last two games, they've been such a strength of the defense is the pass rush. But of course, those are against not as good of offensive lines. Now, it's going to be a chess match on is Josh McDaniels going to tell Vrabel and going to tell the guys, say, hey, he struggles the most against this. He struggles if he sees these looks. These are what he really struggles with, which I think he will do that. He will in meetings, but he hasn't coached him in 3-4 years. Let's just say 3-4 years, whatever. 22, it's 26, whatever. 3-4 years he hasn't coached him. He's been in the system for 3 years, and He started 2 years ago for the Broncos after Sean Payton traded for him the first day Sean Payton got there. Started at the end of the season and then traded up to get this quarterback in the first round, Bo Nix. Now, it might not be him. It could be whatever, but look, Jarrett Stidham's a good solid player. But we can't be going around acting like Jarrett Stidham, who's started a couple times in 6 years, is going to be the guy that figures out the Patriots defense, who doesn't have the same defensive scheme. So it's not even like he can say, oh, well, I've seen their scheme in scout, because he hasn't seen this scheme. The one time that he has seen this scheme, and this is like breaking. The one time he has seen this scheme was his rookie year. Not the one time, but one main time he's seen this scheme. Rookie year. Tom Brady looked like a mouse against this Vrabel defense. Now, that was in the playoffs. That was a big-time game. That was 2019. So that was his rookie year. I was just trying to think. So that was the one time that he has actually prepared for this, and obviously they didn't prepare well, because I think the Patriots scored like 10 or 13 points against this defense. It was abysmal. So what I'm saying is, I think whatever they think is going to happen, I think Vrabel and Core, and I think Terrell will be I heard like a couple weeks ago he was kind of in the building. One of the reporters said like he saw him in the building. So he could be around, and that could be why. And honestly, that's probably why our pressures are so good, and like our pressures are really starting to generate really good pressure and really good movement up front in these games up front, that these stunts that they're running and having Chase on kind of loop in, and just it's been a really, really solid front. And I think Terrell's probably been in the building being like, hey, this is blah, 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 blah. He's not doing anything else. He is a top level defensive coordinator that can prepare for all he has to do is like prep. He doesn't have to worry about like calling it whatever. He can do a little bit, because hey, he's a football coach, and I think he wants to coach football, even though he's going through his prostate cancer and he's battling. And I'm not saying and this isn't me saying like he's got to still coach, but I think like if it was me and I had whatever, I'd be like, look, I'll be in and I'll be watching film. Like, I'm going to help you guys out. Like, Terrell still wants to win a dang Super Bowl, and he's still a great coach, and he's still a great guy, and he's still fighting, and I think I don't know, but if they saw, he's probably good spirits, and the team's rallying around him. And, yeah, I don't know. I think this Patriots team is starting to really get going. And the defensive side, like the defensive backs, if on one of Carlton Davis's interceptions was the one where they ran like a little like post. They had like two guys on like the left, like doubles on the left. Like I think there was like, it might have been a little stack, but I'm not too sure if it was stacked. And the lead the guy in front on the line ran like a little post, and the inside guy ran a little stop and then spin and get upfield and quarters coverage. And a lot of teams have been, we've ran that a couple times, variations of that, and it's a good quarters beater. And Carlton Davis was like, oh, thanks for floating me one. I appreciate it, and picked it off. And he read it perfectly. So I think our secondary is playing great. And I think that's allowing this defensive line to just be like, hey, let's just ball out. Let's just go crazy. Like and we're not giving things away. And pre-snap, there looks like there's 12 guys coming, and then two guys go, and it's just like there's just so much. It's just so much going on in the defense, and I think they can overwhelm him, Stidham. They can overwhelm Stidham just by showing him different things. Because look, he hasn't gotten hit. He hasn't gotten hit in 2 years. Maybe he got hit in preseason or whatever, but he hasn't gotten hit in a long time against good players, against the guys. He comes in the second half and plays against like the guys that are watching it with us. But, and no offense to you guys, I mean, it's just is what it is. Like there's not anything you could really do about that. But yeah, I think the Patriots will be able to show him certain things. It's going to be a chess match. I think they're going to say, hey, we're just going to kind of show him whatever. We're going to show him this. We're going to show him that. And then like in the second quarter, they're going to start ramping it up. And I don't think the Broncos are really going to be moving the ball that well. And I think they're going to ramp it up. And then I think the turnovers are just going to pile. I think they're just going to pile. And you just stack and stack and stack. And they're just going to be baiting every throw. And that's just what I feel like. It's just one of those things where it just feels the more people were talking about how Stidham is like the next Nick Foles, even though Nick Foles, hold on, and also Nick Foles, you gotta think too. Nick Foles, he didn't just come in the playoffs. He started playing in like week 14. So to say he didn't this, that, or the other, like, is such a like he came in the middle at the end of the season. He wasn't just like in the playoffs. So that's a huge deal. That's a huge difference, just coming in and playing right away in the championship game. The only thing he has going for him, not the only thing, but one of the things he has going for him is that they are in Denver. And he doesn't have to travel. And that could be a good thing for him. That could suck too, because he could also sit at home and just be like, oh, shoot. And then, it just maybe feels just a little bit whatever. You got like, whatever. I don't know. There could be just different things that are going on in your head when you're home. When you're away, you feel a little bit more locked in, and you feel a little bit more like you could be like, all right, like this, like I've done this before. I'm going with it. Every time he's gone home, he knew he was going and watching the game the next day. He was going to just watch a game. Now he's going home on Saturday night, waking up Sunday morning and realizing he has to play. I mean, I wouldn't sleep. I would have 3 hours. This Oura ring would tell me like sleep, like it would be like, do not do anything all day. You're screwed. Like you're getting sick. You've thrown up 1,000 times. There's no way I would survive. So you know what? Like I don't want Stidham to go out there and like lose the game. I don't want Stidham to go out there and throw 7 interceptions and completely like throw up all over himself. And I really don't want that. I think Jarrett seems like I don't know him, obviously, but he seems like a really nice dude. And all his teammates and former teammates seem to really like him. But I just hope he just goes 3 and out like every time, and they punt a bunch. And Marcus Jones returns one of those to the house and just silences that crowd. Because I feel like if the Patriots get out early, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for that. Like it's going to be tough for that Broncos team to if the Patriots get out early. Especially, I think the best thing that the Broncos could want is to receive. And let me tell you, the reason why is because if Stidham is standing there on the sideline and he watches the Patriots go down and score points immediately, I'm getting nauseous just thinking about it. Like if I'm Stidham, I'm like, oh my God. Like I am just like, this is like worst case scenario. I haven't even stepped foot on the field in my first start. I'm down 7-0 or 3-0. But I also know, you would have confidence. You have a little swagger. He's gonna feel okay. Maybe. I mean, I played at high school, and I played like a really big game. Actually, when I was a junior in high school, we played a team in Miami that had James Cook on it, and it was a crazy game, packed everywhere, and it's nerve wracking. You feel that nerves, and you break the huddle, and you run out for the first time, and you look to the sideline, to check whatever for the coaches, because our coaches, we would break, go onto the field, and then they would check. We would do like immediate check to make sure, and you just look up, and it was like, oh my, I'm playing in front of this is, and he's played in those games before, but it's like, oh, this means way more than anything he's ever done, and he hasn't done it so he's gonna feel that, and then after that first snap, they're probably gonna hand off the first one, because he's probably gonna be literally like, have you ever seen that video of that? I think it was a college coach, and he came in for like the quarterback got hurt, the starter got hurt, maybe he was like the third string, but he was like going like this, like taking the snap, like in shotgun. He couldn't even, like he was shaking so bad. So maybe that could be, that's probably what I would be feeling. But also Jarrett Stidham, he's played at Auburn. He's played some big games. He's played in the Iron Bowl. He knows what an atmosphere is. This is the biggest game he's played in, but he's not gonna, it's not like he was 8 years old and then he didn't play football and now he's playing for the first time. He's seen it. He's been in big environments, so he's at least been there, which is good. He's been in the stadium, which is totally different than actually being there and having to get the play in, know the formation, know the checks, know this, know that, whatever. There's a bunch. But I think once he starts playing, once the game starts going, I think it's less of like, oh, this is the AFC Championship, and it just turns into a football game. And I don't think he's gonna. I think at some point he's just. I think at some point he's gonna be all right, and that's gotta be. I mean, that Patriots may have to jump on him quick, but who knows? Maybe not. Maybe they can just let him throw it to him, because people are acting like he's like the most accurate quarterback in the world too, which is interesting. But I don't know. We'll see. But keys to the game brought to you by Jerry's Locksmith. Keep your keys on you. Is Jerry's Locksmith. Keys to the game. For the Patriots offense, keys to the game. Running the football. Matt Collins being back will be huge, but running the football, getting ahead of the chains, not ahead of the chains, but not losing, getting 2 to 3 every time, stay out of 3rd and 7, get into 3rd and 4, get into these better situations. I think that's going to be good. I think that's key, is just moving the football. And Drake May said it, ending everything with a kick, a punt, field goal, PAT. That's it. Just end it with one of those, and we'll be all right. I think for the Denver offense is going to be running it efficiently, but I think the key to their game is going to be yards after catch. I think it's going to be a lot of game and also receiver blocking. I think their key to their game is going to be how well do their receivers block in the open space. That's going to be the biggest part of this game, because if they do not block, if they allow the Patriots to rally, it's going to be really tough. So I think if the Broncos can get out, block on the perimeter, set the edge, and not allow the Patriots to gang tackle and to rally and to make big hits and to start getting momentum. Because once the Patriots start getting momentum, it's like, oh boy, it's like a train coming down the tracks. Anyway, defense for the Patriots, key. Jerry's Locksmith. I think Jerry I forget who. Anyway, defense for the Patriots. Key to the game will be, no surprise, the interior defensive line. The interior defensive line is when they try to throw the ball down the field, when they're not throwing those screens, when they're not running the ball, is to limit those throws way down the field, to limit giving Jarrett Stidham that confidence, limiting him to allow the receivers to get across the field. If you can get pressure right through, right in his face, if you can get that pressure by Milton, by Barmore, by Durden, by Tonga, any of these guys, if they can get that pressure up the gut and be able to, a key thing for these D linemen is when they twist, to be able to hit the O-line, to not allow them to switch as easy, to be able to lock on and to be able to try to cause a distraction, is to be able to try to make the guard and the tackle kind of bump into each other, to cause just confusion in the front end and be able to just get upfield and keep getting pressure through the middle. That's going to be huge. That's going to be massive, because the Texans' best pass protector last week got bumped from guard to tackle, and that really didn't help them a lot. That was not effective, and I think the Broncos are getting a couple of their guys back, maybe their center and their guard. So I think a huge thing about this game is, for the Patriots defense, is that interior pressure. I also think a huge part of their game is going to be, they get two keys because it's the Patriots. Their other key is going to be if they're in base, if they're in that 4-3, I think they run like that 4-3 they usually try to be in. If they run like that 3 linebacker, or they'll have Ellis, Spillane, and Gibbons, or Tavai, or any of these guys, these second-level players, the huge thing is for them to rally and tackle, and it kind of goes off of who's going to be able to get out and make those plays. If you can stop Evan Ingram, that's going to be their main thing. That's going to be their guy, because Jarrett Stidham's probably going to be looking who's going to be the guy. It's going to be Evan Ingram's going to be closest to the line of scrimmage a lot. He's going to be on these little safety routes underneath, hook routes, flats, and to not allow him to get a lot of yards after catch. So just having those second level linebackers be able to rally and tackle will be a huge part of this defense. And you saw that out of Buffalo, that Buffalo's defense was playing okay, but they just like uncoiled. Whatever, who cares? But that's going to be huge. And for Denver, they have to get pressure, obviously, on the quarterback, on Drake May, and they have to get it with 4. They have to get it with 4 guys. They cannot bring extra guys and not expect Drake May to know where the void in the coverage is. They have to bring 4, and they have to get home with that, because if they bring 5 or 6, it's going to be a long day for those guys, because they're going to be getting open, and wherever Pat Surtain, I don't know what I was even thinking. Whoever Surtain is, look where he is. He's not on if he's on the left, look to the left and just get it to the right. Just get it off. Just get the ball off. And he's not unbeatable, but might as well just not even throw it over there unless you really get that matchup, unless you really get that burner, unless, whatever. But I think those are the keys to the game. The X factors in the game, brought to you by Printerland, home of the best printers. They hold a lot of paper. Printerland, get your printers. X factor of the game. One. And these aren't going to be Pat Surtain, Drake May. The X factor of the game for me is a guy that I think is going to be under the radar, that I think will have a couple good plays, that's like a supporting role guy. I mean, he can be, I guess, whatever, but the X factor, I think it's easy to say Pat Surtain, or it's easy to say Nick Bonito, or it's easy to say Will Campbell in pass protection, or Stephon Diggs getting open, or Drake May throwing it down the field. But I think the real X factor for the Patriots, if he comes back, Mac Hollins, okay? If he does not come back, the next X factor is Jack Westover, the fullback, is the offensive X factor for the Patriots. Jack Westover, that guy, he started off the season not playing very well. I mean, he wasn't playing like he wasn't whatever. He's starting to get a lot better. And if we go heavy, and if he's able to, he caught against the Chargers, we went empty, and he was far right and caught a little hook for a first down. That was a huge play. He's going to be able to, if he can keep these blocks, and if he can make some key blocks through the hole and play some really good football in these crucial situations, Jack Westover, when he's on the field and they run the football behind him, he is going to be an X factor. If he can get a hat on a hat, and if he can clear out the hole and allow Mondre or allow Travion to get going, Jack Westover could have, no, when I say X factor, I mean like a couple plays, like 3 plays. Like not he's not going to be the guy that's going to be on the field the whole time. He could have 2 key blocks that spring a run for a 70-yard touchdown, for a 60-yard touchdown, for a 40-yard gain. He could have one of those blocks. So Jack Westover is my X factor. And on the defense for the Patriots, this guy has started to come on lately, and I think he is a lot better of a player where he is now. I think a couple weeks ago, he was given another role that he can do, and I don't think in the future he will not be able to do that role, but where he is right now, he is the most effective. And that guy is Christian Ellis, who has a brother on the Broncos, but Christian Ellis on the Patriots defense, the reason why I think he's an X factor is he plays football very, very well and hard, and he hits, and he inflicts some pain. And if he can limit the way that if Jarrett Stidham wants to find out if he can roll out, Christian Ellis is the guy that you F around, you'll find out. Jackson Dart, we all saw that on Monday or Sunday night. Jackson Dart found out if you want to run against him, heads up. And Jackson Dart can play football. Now, listen, I'm a huge Jackson Dart fan. I really like Jackson Dart, and I think Jackson Dart is very similar to like Stidham. I think they're kind of like the same-ish player in the way they throw the ball, the way they like to push the ball down the field, and I think the Patriots are going to they're going to kind of play the Giants or they're going to play the Broncos how they played the Giants, where they're just going to be like, hey, let's see what you got, big boy. Let's see what you got. We're not really going to spy anybody, which is going to be allow Ellis and allow another guy to be in pressure or to be blitzing, because you don't have to really worry about Stidham breaking one and just taking off like Dart or like Herbert or CJ. You didn't really need to worry. That's why I think the defense was even more effective against the Texans, is because they didn't have to have that guy to spy on the quarterback. So I think it's going to allow us to either have an extra guy coming in blitzing, or an extra guy in protection, or in the secondary. And I think that will be really good for the Patriots. I think that's going to be a key factor is Christian Ellis, though, on the defensive side, because I think in the run game, he has a different role now that Spillane is back, and that's why he had a different role a couple weeks ago, is because Spillane was out. But I think now that Spillane's back, Spillane has that filler hole, and he has that. He's more that gap pressing type of linebacker where Christian Ellis can play a little bit more free when he's next to a guy that he knows is like Spillane's going to find the football and put his nose on it. And I think Christian Ellis has a little bit more leeway to be like, oh, I can kind of run around and I can really play and I can feel free and I can do whatever I want. So I think that's going to be really good to watch. Number 53 on defense and 37 on offense, and watch these guys just fly around. And Westover is going to make some good plays. I think Ellis will be way more involved than Westover, because I think Westover will probably have around like 12 snaps maybe. I think he should have more, because I don't think the Broncos will be able to stop this offense if they keep running it down their throat over and over again and they just change the backs, Travion, Mondre, like every 2 or 3 runs. And I also don't think that the altitude is going to be that much of a difference. I listened to LeGarrette Blount, and just hearing like the Patriots play, like Christian Gonzalez was talking about, he's like, I played in altitude. Like, I don't think it's that much of a difference. Like, of course it's a difference, and it's going to be, it makes it a little harder to breathe, but I mean, the way people talk about it is as if like you go blind if you run for longer than like 10 minutes. And yeah, it's going to be more difficult, but it's just like you get a little bit more tired, and they have oxygen tanks and you know, like they do it in hockey, they do it in basketball. Like, I don't know why all of a sudden football, like where you have, I don't know. I think it's a factor, but it's not, especially at this end of the season where guys are going to be a little bit more conditioned, and you know, it's going to be cold, so guys are going to be running on and off anyway, and it's just going to be, you know, it's going to be a lot of personnel that are going to be changing on and off, and that's kind of how football is anyway now. I don't think, you know, there's a lot of subbing anyway. Every time the offense subs, defense subs, and there's a lot of personnel now. It's not Oregon in 2010 where they're running high up tempo, no huddle style. It's a little bit different. So, and the Bills looked fine at the end of the game. So look, fine. I'm just gonna go predictions. Let's just this game. I think the Patriots are gonna look the best they've looked since the Jets game. Like, this offense, I think, is going to be clicking. I think Will Campbell is fucking pissed off. Excuse my language. But it's going to, I think it's going to be a lot tougher for Denver than they think on defense, because I think Houston's defense is way better. The Patriots still, I moved my desk, sorry. Patriots still scored 21 points, and I think it's going to be I think it'll be like 38 to 10. And that 10's maybe 13, because Lutz is going to kick like a nuke from wherever. But I don't think he will. I think it'll be like 38 to 10. I think maybe 13, because I think early Denver is going to move the ball, because I think the Patriots are going to be like, what do you guys want to do? Okay. All right. Whatever. They move the ball. Then Stim has a little confidence, tries to rip it and get an interception. But I don't even think they're going to, I think their touchdown is going to be like end of the third quarter, fourth quarter. Patriots are going to be up like 4 scores. I really don't, I mean, I know the noise is going to be crazy, but I think that they're going to silence those guys pretty quick. I think they're going to run the ball a lot, the Patriots, and just really just get after it. And I think they'll hit a couple deep shots that's going to take the top off the defense, and they'll score on a couple of those. And Matt Collins is going to make some crazy catches if he's back. If he's back for sure. He just practiced, but we don't know if he's back. But if he's practicing with an abdomen, that's a pretty good sign, I would say. I would say if it was an abdomen And, that's something. He wasn't even in non-contact. He was just in a regular jersey. So he'll be okay. I think, yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think? If you made it this far, I mean, is it going to be a close game? I don't see it being a close game. I think the more I hear people talk about how great Jarrett Stidham is, the more I'm like, this guy might absolutely suck. This guy might really suck. Because if the media is talking about it this much, how great he is, and he hasn't even played since, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it's going to be like 38, 31, 38, something like that. 30. I mean, they scored 28 points versus Houston. It's going to be cold. How is Stidham going to play in the cold? His couple starts, he played in a dome. Or like in the end of the year trap game versus the Niners is like his greatest game of all time at week 17. Like that Niners team, I don't even think they were even playing anybody. Like they were just kind of like just trying to make it into the playoffs because end of the year, teams just kind of start mailing it in. Of course you want to win, but maybe they were battling. I don't know, but it just seems, I don't know. I'm not worried. I was earlier this week, like a couple days ago, I was like, oh, this could be bad. Like they could whatever. And then you see the Patriots players in their scrums and the media scrums after, and you just see they're like, it's not like, yeah, whatever. It's like, we're not even looking at the Super Bowl. This is the game. Like it's this game and nothing else, and then next 2 weeks. Like this game is all that matters, and that's what it seems like. And that's what I think Vrabel's got, this next game mentality, and I think they've been rocking that. And I think they're gonna show that they're the real deal. I think they're gonna show that this defense is not something to play with for the third week in a row, and then the Super Bowl they're gonna say the same thing, that the only reason they made it is because Jarrett Stidham was the quarterback. And we'll see. But I have a good feeling. I think final prediction actually is going to be, I love 31 to 10. Or I love 38 to 10. But I think I'm going to go 31 to 10. Just because I think it's going to be like, they're going to be like, all right, we're just, give them the ball. Let's move. Come on. Here we go. Give them the ball. Let's move along. Like at the end, and I think they're still going to score, but I don't know. So 31-10 is what I'm going with. I think it'll be, like 28 to 10 in the fourth quarter, and then they just like drive the ball, eat like 12 minutes, kick a field goal, go up, whatever, and call it. Go up 3 scores and call it a game, call it a day, call it a night, call it a AFC Championship victory from the New England Patriots. And I think they will be playing. I think they will play Seattle, but I would love for it to be the Rams. I think that would be like awesome, as if it was the Rams, just because of the MVP thing, but I don't think it matters. I think both of those teams are good, but just like the Patriots, I'm not overlooking that game. I'm locked in with them. I'm into this game, and I'm not overlooking Jarrett Stidham, but I got my defense. I got the defense. I got the Pats defense, and I think this O-line is not. Also, I saw a thing where like a bunch of the teams that the Broncos played all year were like all like backups all year. So we'll see. I think they're going to look at a lot of stuff and figure it out. So we'll see. It'll be a good game if you're a Patriots fan, hopefully. And yeah, we'll see. I'm excited. A couple days away. And yeah, see you guys next time. Maybe later this week, maybe next week, but not. See ya.